Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all doing really good. Doing okay tonight. Been pretty busy cleaning up in the studio and, trying to go through the inventory. I forget what I have for stuff. It's just, I'm not bragging about it. It's just the way it is. I have too much stuff and I can't stop. So I might as well make videos of it, I guess. Okay, so pedals. This is a pretty good collection. I think there's probably more kicking around. I'd have to dig, but I filled the table and I figured that was enough for the video. So I'm just going to walk you through some of the pedals that I've collected and use, to this day and explain how I kind of chain effects together maybe a little bit. I'm not going to do any sound demos in this video. It would just be pointless. So I think what I'll do is, I'm going to show you guys some close-up video of this. We'll pull the camera in and I'll go right down the table here in just a second and we'll take a look at them all. So if you see something on the table here that you're interested in hearing and having me do a demo of, just put it in the comments and I'll do something, okay? Uh, so I started out playing cover bands, okay, in the 80s and 90s. And, you play 40 songs a night, sometimes 45, even 50. It depends if you're playing fast, how it's going, that kind of thing. Usually 40 to 45 seem to be the magic number, depending on encores and if we felt like going home or just felt like playing a few more songs. So, uh, it was just, I had to have pedals to make the song sound legit. You know what I mean? So I started out with I bought a digital delay pedal, which is over here on the corner in the front. I'll show that to you. I still have it. I still use it, actually. That's always on the pedal board, and I'll explain why in a minute. But uh, I bought a Digitech RP1, the first floor, all-in-one processor, and that was really cool. Those were expensive. Them were like $700 or $800 back then. I can remember it was insane. It was a lot of money back then. I actually swapped a guitar for mine. I swapped a Kramer Sustainiac guitar for that pedal. Eh, Probably a bad move on my part, but that was a beautiful guitar. It really was. But to make a long story short, I needed the effects because I was playing gigs. You know what I mean? So I didn't have the money. I swapped a guitar for it and went to the show. So, but playing cover songs, like I said, I had to have. I wanted to make them sound legit. So if the song had chorus in it, or if it had flange in it, a delay, whatever it was, tremolo, I wanted it in my setup so I could, I didn't want to play in clubs and have them say, oh, they're trying to play that song and it kind of sounds like it. I wanted it to sound exactly like it. So that's why I did it. And I get into effects really early, as soon as I could. And, doing like listening to U2, the Police, the Van Halen stuff. There was just, they were using it too. And I wanted to sound, legit when I played the stuff. I didn't want to, I could play the stuff, but I just didn't have that swirly stuff going on, a delay or whatever they were using, and it drove me nuts. So, and then I went to an RP3, uh, which was it was yellow and it had an expression pedal on it. I think them were like $500 when them were new. That worked good too. And sometimes I'd program like, you know, maybe 10 programs I'd make up, and I could do the whole night pretty much, you know. Without having to tweak anything. I could, you know, I'd even write the number next to the song sometimes, so I'd know what number. And after a while, I didn't even have to. I just knew. So uh, then, you know, I started getting some stomp boxes and going back to that. It was just I really couldn't tweak the, you know, the all in ones as good as a stomp box. So and there was more variety of flavor, excuse me, in the stomp boxes. So eventually I started collecting these again. So this is what I have right now, and there's probably a few more, like I said. And I enjoy the stomp boxes now, and more than the all-in-ones. It was my point, but I just stripped my pedal board completely, and I'm building a new board. I may do a video of this. I'm gonna do like a rounded one so I can step in and not just have it flat. So I'm moving, you know, with it. I want to be in there, and then I can just tap and do what I need to do. And I do have a lot of pedals on my pedal board, not for show or anything like that. I just have them there. If we're jamming and we play a song and whatever, if it's got chorus and flanger and whatever zippity doo dah on it, I gotta have it, or it's gonna bug me and drive me nuts. So that's what it is. I know it sounds like an illness, and I think it probably is. All right, guys, without no further ado, I'm going to roll you guys in and show you these pedals. Here we go. And remember, if you see something on here that you'd like to see a demo of and listen to before you buy one, whatever, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Eventually, I will do a good demo. When I build my new board and set it up, I'll do a nice video on that and walk you through some of the pedals in an in-depth kind of sound thing. Okay, guys, let's take a good look here. Okay, guys, here we are right on the old table, and let's start right here. I kind of have these bunched up as best I could, you know, in a kind of a hasty setup for this video, but this was the first pedal I ever bought right here. This Digitech delay. Those were expensive. They were like $269, I think, new. This thing has been to every gig I've ever played, and I did replace the toggle. It used to have a three position slider, and it wore out, so I opted for the toggle, which I kind of like better. So I really love this pedal because it has an input and output volume in it. Even if you're not using the delay section of it, that's handy. And the reason why, okay, like usually I would start my pedal chain. This is how I kind of do it. I'm gonna just do the little brief thing. Usually I hit a tuner first. This poly tune works really well. I'll hit the tuner first. I'll come out of that, and more than likely go into a fuzz pedal. These are some homemade fuzz pedals here that I made out of record player platters. We'll get to that, but so I usually hit this volume pedal, fuzz. Then I'll probably go from fuzz to whatever overdrives I'm going to try to run on the board at that time. It could be a distortion, overdrives, or whatever. That's the next chain. And then from there, I will usually hit modulation, choruses, auto anything like that, flanges. And then I usually hit a delay or two, and then to a reverb, and then out to 2 amplifiers. And that's just kind of how I do it. And there could be, boost pedals and stuff, EQs in there in between as well. I'll go through the order of how I do mine when I set this back up on a new board. So, okay, back to these delay pedals. Like I said, now, what I just explained, I'd have, overdrives and stuff, delay, modulation effects, all hitting before it hits this pedal, so to speak. So I'd be going through my overdrives, distortions, choruses, or whatever, hit this thing, and then out to a reverb pedal, and then out to the amps. So what I would do, I could crank up my overdrives and get it screaming hot where I liked it, and then I can keep that signal nice on the input and then roll the output back down so it's not so loud, and now I have this creamy sound that I created at low volume without losing the signal. So I use this even when I'm not using the delay things on it for that alone, which is really handy, and I've done that for a lot of years. But okay, now moving on to this one. This one doesn't belong to me, it belongs to a friend. This is a really nice delay pedal, and it's a looper. Tons of stuff here, tape delays, tube. I use the space setting, which is kind of has a little choral effect to it, maybe. It's really lush. You have delay time, feedback time, level, looper level, which is nice, and you can switch between looper or delay. This is where you record your loops in, and you can stack them too. This is how you play it back. And it has tap tempo for your delays, so you can do that with your feet, and then hit this, and then it plays it for you. It'll engage the delay that you just chose. Really nice pedal. Stereo in, stereo out. Amazing pedal. Here's a couple reverbs. This is a Joyo Moist Reverb. It's not a bad pedal, really. I mean, it sounds okay. I'm not downing it at all. So you got studio, church, and plate, and decay, mix, and tone. Pretty self-explanatory. This pedal you hear in all my videos. If you hear reverb, it's this. Yang Baby Boom Tri-Verb. That is the best reverb pedal I've ever heard in my life. And I should buy another one or build one or something in case something happens to that one. That was inexpensive too, like maybe $50 or something. I've had this for a long time. I don't know if he's still on eBay. I'm thinking that's where I purchased it, but I'll have to look into that. Here's a couple old tuners. This was the first guitar tuner I ever saw in my life. That was my father's first tuner. Before that, we used pitch pipes. Now here's a clock radio that I converted into a fuzz pedal, fuzz boost. It's more of a clean boost with a little dirt, really. It's not really fuzz, but it is transistor. That's how you turn it on and off. Volume and tone, in and out, and a power jack. And it's cool. You can set that right on your amp, and it sounds nice. It really does. Not because I made it, but it just does. It sounds nice. We got a theremin back here. You guys know what these are. Some of you may not, but I'm guessing most of you will. theme to Star Trek. That was done with a theremin. There's a nano verb. I've got a few pieces of these, small rat gear kicking around, some more Lisa stuff. Peterson tuner, great piece of gear. You want to intonate your guitar, these are super accurate, and they work just really well. Okay, so let's take a look. We got a few overdrive options here. I'd have to put that one in there too. This is a clone. This isn't real. If it was, it would be for sale, because it's insane what they're getting for them now. The old ones. I remember those in the catalogs. I could have bought them new. I mean, they weren't cheap either. They were like $3 something, I think, back then, like Musician's Friend or something, if I remember right. Here's another clone, clone. Now, this one I built from a kit, okay? And the directions led me to solder something in backwards on the circuit board, and I ended up having to unsolder it, and I burned a couple of the traces on the circuit board doing it. So I had to bypass by jumping across the bad spots with wires and soldering stuff in. Still wouldn't work, and eventually I kept troubleshooting it until I got it to work. But this, you can see where I have the output on that. That thing, if you turn that up that much, it'll almost blow your amplifier. It's so loud. I mean, I'll do a comparison of these two, because this one sounds the same, but the volume output of that is incredible. I don't know if I changed something. I definitely was just troubleshooting to try to get it to work. So it's the loudest klon pedal you will ever hear in your life, guaranteed. Anyway, moving on. These are pretty good if you want the Stevie Ray thing, guys. Not a bad pedal at all. I'm gonna dig that out. That's going on the board when I gear up again. Really nice pedal, well made, not that expensive. Here's one, the old DS1, of course. We know what that is. I might mod mine though. I've been looking into some mods I can do to it. There's a ton of mods you can do to these pedals, and they're not that tough. You have a little soldering skills, and some of it's just unsoldering parts and taking them out, which changes it. Now this pedal here I paid $14 for, brand new, when they first come out. Plastic, really kind of cheesy feeling, but that is one of the best overdrives I own. I'm not kidding you. I thought about putting it in a steel case, taking it out, but I'm not gigging, so it's probably going to be all right the way it is, but I'll show you that sometime. Those things are killer. We got the glove here, electro harmonix. Very nice pedal. And it's got a switch, so you can shift the tone on and off. It's just like two different amps, or two different pedals when you flick the switch. I use this quite a bit, actually, on my board. Now this belongs to a friend. He brought it down. We was just messing around with it, seeing what we could get out of it. And it works pretty good. The color knob is the magic one on that. But it's got, you can play some heavy duty stuff with that too. So if you're looking for a good like metal rocker thing, that will do it. So let's see what else we got here. This is a pretty cool pedal, BBE Bacchus Berry rotary simulator. Now, I was looking for like a rotary Leslie pedal. That's not what this is. This is like a Hendrix Univibe fuzz tone. It's really geared for like the Hendrix thing, okay? So don't think that's going to give you like a rotary or a Leslie. It's not like that. I'll show it to you sometime if you guys want, but let's see what else. I think that's all the drives I've got out. Got a few modulation pedals over here too. We've got this is just a little delay I bought, echo thing, cheap, just to try it, 30, 40 bucks or whatever. It's not bad. It's pretty quiet and subtle. It doesn't hiss, it doesn't make noise, white noise. So not bad. I use it sometimes, but I usually use these. But we got the C9 organ machine, EH. Pretty cool pedal radio, guys. I mean, I've used this in jams when there's multiple guitar players in the room, and you know that gets washed out when you're all playing the same stuff. So this is an instant hit. You're playing organ, just chording and stuff, and playing lead with it too. It's fun to do that with. It's got a lot of nice mod sweeps, and the attack things are really cool. You can tweak all that. And these got presets on them to start with right here. The tone wheel, prog, compact, shimmer, Lord Purple, mellow flutes, the blimp, which sounds like the, you know, thank you intro, press tone, that's a tip of the hat to Billy Preston, okay, and Telstar, that gets really funky on that Telstar too. But this is a lot of fun. It really is, and it sounds pretty legit as an organ. If you do a little knob twisting, you can get that pretty nice. Here's an old sound tank. Ibanez, that's an old one, probably 80s, 90s, I don't know. Not a bad little chorus. MXF Phase 90, legend. Here's an old Boss flanger, Japan. That one's older too. Good pedals. You can't lose with Boss. They're really well made. This is interesting too. This Hughes and Kettner Red Box. This is a cabinet emulator, and works really well. And it's got XLR out, similar to a direct box kind of thing. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, I had a couple. There's a cheap chorus pedal. That works pretty decent though. And this is another mod pedal. These are cheap. You can get these on Amazon or eBay. The only issue is when I first turn my pedal board on, I have to unplug the cord and plug it back in or it won't work. And I know a friend that has one. His does the same thing. So maybe I can figure that out, and I'll let you guys in on the secret how to fix them. This, I don't even know if I've even tried. This is a tremolo pedal. Again, probably an inexpensive one. These are good. Little boost pedals. These mini TCs. Very nice pedal. Doesn't take a ton of space up. Now this is one I would recommend in a minute. This Moen Buffalo. This is a parametric EQ. And it also has this frequency shift. So what I do with this, if I change guitars, say you get your stuff all set up and you're playing with single coil, Strats and Tellys. Then you snap a Les Paul into your rig. Now it's a mess, right? It can be. Well, what I do is I set this up for one or the other, and it's using this frequency sweep, okay? So I'll get a Les Paul, say I'll set my rig up for singles, then I'll plug a Les Paul in and I'll tweak it with this, get the volumes right. So if I switch guitars, boom, I hit that and I'm right there. My rig volume's not fluctuating. Really handy pedal. And you got, in, direct, headphone out, and you have, let me get this flipped around, sorry for the shaky camera work. You got an unbalanced out and a balanced out, and you have a ground flip. Really well made pedals. I use that all the time on my board. So up here we got some there's old wireless. There's Rock and Play. Remember them? Like you would play, I think you could like line in a cassette or CD and slow it down or something. I got the book for it. I'll have to dig it out. This was kind of the same thing. You could plug your guitar in and it would play like grooves, bass, and different styles of, stuff. Pretty neat. There's an old wireless I used for years. That's a Samson. Still works great. Wireless was pretty big when it first came out. Okay, so these are some homemade fuzz pedals I made out of the record players. This one's done. I just got to put the bottom on it, which I have. I've made all these plates for the bottom to close them in out of tempered aluminum, ABS plastic, and another sheet of tempered aluminum. Really strong stuff. Made all those by hand. This is the one you hear me play once in a while. It's on my board always. That's an extreme fuzz pedal there. This is just a diode clipper. There's two LEDs. You can have it clip one or you can have it clip both. That's a pretty cool one too. It's like a fat fuzz. These ones, I don't have the circuits built for yet, but they're all ready to go and all the jacks and pots are mounted. And here's the matching one to my original one. So I can't remember which. Oh, this is the third one. I built that right there, 522, and signed it. Here's a cool one. This is a K fuzz tone, okay? 67, 68, made of plastic, and you just rock this pedal back and forth. If you guys listen to the U2 song called Elevation, it starts out with this pedal, and it goes wham, 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 wham. It's like a wah fuzz. It doesn't. What it does though is it doesn't wah. It actually, when you engage the pedal, it just adds more fuzz or less fuzz. And you have to turn it on or off with this switch. And that's it. And they put the diagram in it. Imagine that, so you could copy it. So there it is. This works great. This was purchased at a lawn sale. Here's the rubber cover that it snaps right around the whole thing and holds it on there and keeps it from sliding around. These I've seen since he did that track with it. Of course, when somebody famous does something like that with a pedal, they increase the value. These are $700-800 now, I've seen, so I don't know. I'll have to keep looking around. That was a while ago when I saw those, but it is a neat pedal. I don't use it much, but it works fine. Back here we got a Fishman Aura. Great pedal for acoustic guys, I'll tell you that. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this thing. It's hard to describe it all. You'd have to really demo it, or I would, and or you can check out some other demos. I'm sure there's some out there. Really cool pedal. Fishman, very well built. Here's one, guys. Hughes and Kettner Cream Machine. This is a 1 watt tube amp. Okay, you can plug this into a cabinet. There's all kinds of stuff you can do to this. I use it like a pedal in line in my rig, and then run a on-off pedal so I can snap it on and off. That is the best plexi tone you will ever hear in your entire life at low volume or high volume. But really cool pedals, and I don't see them around much at all anymore. Okay, we got some volume wah pedals. This was on my board that I just stripped off. I use this a lot. This is a volume or a wah. So when that's out, it's a wah. When you push it in, it's a volume. And it's a good pedal. Works great. No noise. It's well built. Here's a crybaby, of course. You know, nothing fancy about this one. There is a lot of mods you can do to those too. I'll show you guys some cool stuff you can do to them sometime. Here's a Show Bud volume pedal. These are pretty cool. So that went to a pedal steel guitar. Buddy Emmons, Show Bud, of course. I heard Larry Carlton has one on his board, or he always did, that same pedal. This is an Ernie Ball. Yeah. This is a volume pedal. Nice pedal. This thing's heavy and built like a tank. Big too. Takes up a lot of room, but it's easy to find, I guess. These are some pedals that I built from kits. Now, when I first started building pedals, that's how I started. These DIY kits. I recommend it. You don't have to know how to read a schematic. It's like putting a model together with a soldering gun. It's pretty easy, as long as you can solder and follow the directions. They mark all the components and tell you where they go. It's fun to do. This is a boost. This is an optical compressor. This is a rat attack, which is 3 or 4 rat pedals in one. You take this back plate off, and there's a piano switch with 4 sliders on it, and you can run different combinations of diodes, germanium, silicone. You can get a ton of sounds out of that. I paid quite a bit of money just for the kit, like $80-90, and I had to put it together still. This, I think, is the old DOD or MX. I'll have to look that one up. This is just an overdrive, a subtle overdrive. It's just got a volume, gain, and a tone, but it's a nice pedal. It'll just push an amp a little bit for you, and you got a tone knob, which is nice, in the middle of your rig. Well, guys, other than I got a few tuners here. This is a nice one. It's got a big display on it. Diodario, works good. There's a Keeley compressor, good compressor. I don't use compression a lot, but that is a good one. He makes some really good stuff. So if you see anything on here, guys, you want me to do a little demo on, when I get time, I can. Just give me a heads up, and we'll go from there. I'll keep digging around. I'm sure there's more stuff kicking around here as I keep going, but I'm going to get these all wiped off and cleaned up, and start building a new pedal board. Well, alright, guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned. I'll have something good coming very soon. Be good. Okie doke.